All right, Wayne Bettis here, the founder of the Off the Tools podcast. I just want to introduce you to our brand new sponsor, directplumbing.supplies.com. It is founded by a former tradesman who has set up his own plumbing and heating merchants. He has an online shop, which is obviously at directplumbing.supplies.com, and he delivers across the UK. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the show. Good evening, Off the Tools. How is everybody on this slightly cooler night? God, what a couple of days that temperature's been. I don't know about you guys, but my head, I've been sweating, mate, and I haven't even been on the tools. So God bless you guys that have had to be out there fitting boilers and shit in the lofts. But I've been meaning to jump on. I saw this advert last week, and I've been wanting to bring the discussion up. Just haven't had the time to do it. And I think the title of the video, like British Gas devaluing the industry. I don't know if you've seen it, but they're offering boiler servicing for like £49 or something ridiculous like that. And as you hear me talk all the time about raising our prices. So I felt duty bound to really address this issue, because it's all well and good sitting here saying, yeah, raise your prices. But then when you see the biggest company in the UK in our industry come in with such a low offering, I thought it was only right to sort of open up the discussion and see what you guys are thinking about it, and B, just share my thoughts on it. So please feel free to comment below, any questions, anything. We don't have to just talk about British Gas. I'm happy to have a bit of an open discussion. If anyone wants to actually jump on camera and speak to me directly and have a little discussion about whatever it might be, I'm more than happy to. But until I see any questions, I'm gonna just waffle on a little bit about my thoughts on what British Gas are doing. So I think if we look at it in isolation, it looks a little bit desperate to me. It feels like they're under a lot of pressure from a lot of independents like us, small family-owned local businesses, and they're also starting to lose a huge market share to the likes of IHE, Boxed, obviously, on their boiler sides, and obviously naturally a lot of people are cancelling their service plans and things like that, because a lot more smaller companies are now offering that, which is, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but my belief is that they're going to be really suffering financially, and their philosophy here in going in such a low ball price for a service is simply to give them the opportunity. It's called a loss leader. So getting a British Gas engineer in the door so that guy or girl can then upsell them onto service plans, can upsell them a new boiler, obviously the knock-on effects of the repairs and all of that stuff that comes with it, which a big company can afford to do. If they're turning over hundreds of millions of pounds a year, they can afford to lose a certain amount of money with a bigger picture on their upselling and their future prospects. Whereas us smaller companies, we can't do that. We can't go in at such a low rate, because I don't even know what British Gas's overheads are, right? But I know damn well that they won't be making any money on that initial visit. Yeah, Anthony, exactly. Lifetime value of the client. Yeah, that is what they're doing. But for British Gas to do it, when up until the last 2 years, 3 years maybe, they've always been at the higher end of the pricing. I don't know about you, but we're finding that British Gas boiler quotes are coming down drastically. There used to always be at least £1,000, 1,500 quid difference, whereas now it's sort of becoming a 500-600 quid difference, which isn't that much in the scheme of getting a boiler. Desperate attempts. Yeah, Billy. Yeah, that's what it is. They're trying to keep that market share. And people like us, we're playing a part in that, because there's a lot more. If you go back to 10, 15 years, there wasn't nowhere near as many independent small businesses like everyone in this room. Like there's 37 of us on now. We're all in Off the Tools. So my guess is that we're all small self-employed businesses. My fear from this is that it's going to put pressure on our businesses. Everyone in this room, you know, we're going to start to lose customers, because if a customer, like we're currently charging 110 for a service, so we're more than double what one of our clients can ring up British Gas for. And unfortunately the customer, in not every customer, a lot will be loyal, but there will be quite a few that will simply go for the cheaper quote, right? Forget the service, forget all the value that you can bring. There is a proportion of people, sorry, that was a hard word to say with my face problem, that will just go for that cheap price, not understanding that they're then in British Gas's pipeline for upselling service plans, boilers, and all of that. So I'm just going to read through some of the questions. So it's false advertising. I left British Gas a year for several reasons, one of which being they penalised engineers for spending too long on particular jobs. There is no way a proper boiler, sir. Yeah, you know, Natalie, I hear this a lot, where they put pressure on people to do things maybe that isn't quite ethically correct. But unfortunately, they can do it because they're a big company, and they have the power at the moment. That power is shifting, I believe, and I genuinely believe that they're a demising business, that they're gonna shrink over the next decade massively, or be bought out, or something along them lines. I'm glad you left though. I hope everything's been all right since you left, and I hope you're doing well now. Ross McCormack, how can they get away with selling a service that just doing a safety check? Yeah, that was the next point I wanted to get at, is if they're going to be sending their engineers that are all on decent wages, they have paid for vehicles, paid for holiday pay, so many perks, they're going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to be incentivized to get in and out, aren't they, quite quickly. So it's going to be interesting to see what the likes of Worcester Bosch and Ideal will, and all the other manufacturers will do on this, because as you all know, you know, to validate a guarantee or a warranty, it needs to be serviced as per the manufacturer's instructions, and I can't see how they're going to do that at that low price. But you know, again, the size of the business maybe will allow them to get away with it. It'd be interesting to see if it's just for a month, and if they were just looking at their pipeline and sort of panicked a little bit that the cash flow was drying up. But let's get back to my point about like competing with these, because however long this offer is on for, we're going to feel the effects. They're not, because they can absorb the loss. They can make it up further down that lifetime of that client. But we have to deal with this immediately. You know, you could wake up tomorrow to 5 emails that are cancelling their service next week, whatever it might be. So what we've decided to do is, we haven't decided to lower our price. We've just decided to excel on what we offer. So I've sent out an email basically detailing everything that we do in a service, calling it a full comprehensive service, in a way to try and alleviate our customers' fears that yes, they might be paying more, but they're getting a far superior product, service, whatever you want to call it. So that's just one way. You're naturally going to lose a couple of clients to this. There's no getting away from it. But I'm just going to read some of the comments to see if there's any questions. You're exactly right, Wayne. They just want to upsell when they, yeah, exactly. Cheap boiler service. They will insist on initial inspection. Liam, yeah, I agree and I disagree. You know, there at times like this, I sometimes feel like that. I think, come on, man. You know, you got the likes of Box coming in stupidly cheap on boilers because they're happily able to lose millions and millions of pounds in their grab for market share. But then I also look at like my business and my profit margins and stuff, and I think, okay, yeah, it could be better, of course, like anyone could be, but the industry, in my opinion, still is very lucrative. It's just getting tougher. And this is where, education, trying things, trial and error is going to come in, because we're going to have to, as an industry of small independent businesses, we're all going to have to up our game. It's just going to be like, the survival of the fittest. Companies that innovate, companies that change up what they're doing and really excel on that customer service and customer journey are really going to survive, and those that have maybe been a bit complacent may fall off on the wayside. Love what Anthony Starks just put about the three levels of servicing. Yeah, that's a very good tactic. Dissect it down to what they get with the competitors, and what they can pay a little bit extra for, and why that's important. I think educating our customers is a big part of that. So really explaining in as simple terms as possible, because you've got to remember, these guys and girls, customers, that they don't understand. In their eyes, they see the word boiler service, right? And on the surface, unless we take the time to explain why and what needs doing, when it needs doing, and how maybe others aren't doing what is meant to be done, is a very good way to do it. I'm just going to read a few of the comments. Sorry if you've got my big head shining in your face. If anyone wants to jump on and discuss this with me and discuss it with all the guys watching, please just put in the comments and I can bring you on the video. Let's read Paul's comment. What's this? I priced a combi swap against British Gas engineer for a family I've worked for about 10 years. They showed me his quote and he was doing it for less than 200, not including pipe and fittings. Wow. Unfortunately, we're never going to be able to combat them silly low prices. Someone just wants to join. Let me see. Work. I'm sitting in a car park watching my son play football, so my signal isn't great. The clients lost to cheaper prices aren't worth holding on to anyway. Stuart, yes, in a way, yes, I would agree. I would agree with that to some degree. But ultimately, in the world that we live in right now, its price is people are struggling. We've got inflation at nearly 10%. Wages for our customers just aren't going up, especially not at that rate. And so if you had said that 2 years ago, wholeheartedly, I'd have said yes, 100%. The people that are just shopping on that price bracket, then they're not worth keeping. But I think my mindset has shifted a little bit, and sort of shifted a little bit more to understanding that, yeah, okay, I get it, but everyone is struggling. So I sort of, agree to disagree on that one, I think. But he won't be around for long. Yeah, lots of comments coming in. I'm just trying to catch up. This was like totally unplanned. I was meant to do it last week and just forgot about it and come on today. So anyone that's watching, what have you seen the effect of that? Have you had anyone cancel yet? We haven't, touched wood. We haven't had anyone cancel on us as of yet, but I'm certainly expecting it. And like I say, that I've done a few things. I'm gonna do what Anthony actually mentioned about showcasing the 3 different levels of service and detailing what they get and why they get that, as a way to try and instill that confidence in our customer that, yeah, okay, they might have to pay a few more extra quid to get us, but they're going to get X, Y, Z better than anyway. Paul, you got that boiler anyway. There you go. So that comes down to trust and value in you, I suppose. And obviously that's something we should all be striving for, in our businesses. But Liam Madigan, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong there. Totally agree with you, mate. In my area, everything is down to the price. I would say 8% of the customers just look at the price and go to the cheapest. It's just a boiler to them. And I've been offering a tiered servicing, and everyone. How do you find then, Liam? How do you find offering that tiered service? I'd love to hear what your results have been. What's Damien? We've had a few cancellations. So yeah, so Damien, hope you're well, mate. Haven't spoken to you for a little while. Be great to get you back on the podcast. Get a little follow up on how things are progressing in your business. But yeah, so we're starting to see it then. Businesses are starting to see the cancellations come in, which is a shame. And like I said at the beginning of the video, for those that weren't on, you know, there are going to be a certain proportion of customers that are always going to just go for that. You know, no matter what you do. Anthony, yes, of course, Anthony. Yeah. What I'll do is that I'll draft it up probably tomorrow, because I think I've got to act swiftly on this to limit any potential damage. Because for me personally, my business is boiler installs and servicing and care plans. That is the only real things we offer. We don't do much general stuff. That we sort of very isolated. So I feel that this is going to be a fairly impactful month. I think that I'm hoping it's only a month that they do it, but I don't want to lose any customers. So spending an hour tomorrow to draft that up is definitely going to be on my list. And if anyone wants it, just drop me a message and I'll show you what I've done. I'm going to use any of you guys that have done my service plan training. Yeah, you know, I have different levels of service plans that we offer. I'm just going to use that sort of framework. And build a landing page that will just show the in essence essentials, standard and premium, different levels of servicing, and what gets included and what's not on each one. So yeah, definitely I'll share that with anyone that wants to see that. Let's see what other question. This is an introductory price for your first year. It includes the offers that might not be available at renewal. Customer in their second year pay 58. Will contact you a month. Is that Billy? Is that just come off their website? Yeah, I'm guessing that's in small print somewhere down at the bottom, which unfortunately most customers won't read. They'll just jump on. Liam. Yeah, mate. When I started out my business, I started off. I left an employed job, and then went into contracting for British Gas, and then obviously phased that out over the period of, I think, 3 to 6 months, something like that. Oh yeah. What I'll probably do is I'll do the landing page. Hopefully, I'll do it tomorrow morning, and then I'll just post the link in Off the Tools, and then you guys can all have a look. And I'm happy for you to just copy it. It's no drama to me, you know. Most of us are spread out across the UK. Even if you're local to me, it doesn't bother me. I'm happy to share. Let's spin this conversation. It's been quite a negative one, so let's look at some positives from this. You know, the offer that they're putting out could cause a spike in awareness of servicing. So that's maybe a little positive, that it might prompt a few customers to, oh, you know, I've been meaning to ring Dave to get my boiler serviced or whatever. But yeah, there's not. That's probably the only positive that I can get. So Billy's just putting people on. Oh, okay, Billy. So they have to sign up. It's not just a matter of buying it one off. They have to sign up onto a direct debit. Okay, again, this is where British Gas have that luxury. They're obviously going to absorb that small loss it's small in the scheme of their business loss now, to have that direct debit set up where the price can just obviously go up and up and up. I remember, like, when I joined Netflix, it was like $5.99, and it's now what, 12, 13 quid and whatever a month, and it's a tactic that works. Yes, Andrew Stevenson. Yes, please, for this service structure. Yeah. Like I said, I'll get that. I'll do my best to do it tomorrow morning. If not, it'll be later on in the afternoon. But is anyone willing to jump on the live and have a little chat, or is everyone a bit camera shy tonight? Let's see what other questions. I found if you charge cheap prices, you get cheap customers. Charge good rates, and you get good customers. Yeah, Ross. Fundamentally, yes, you're correct. I don't know if you heard what I said a few moments ago about how 2 years ago I would have 100%, no questions asked, agreed totally. You know, I wouldn't have even thought otherwise. But with the cost of living crisis, the fuel crisis, the inflation crisis, I'm using the word crisis a lot here. I'm trying not to be negative, man, but I can't get out of it on this conversation. I'm starting to sort of understand that, yeah, okay, these nice customers that would have maybe in the past paid our prices, they're under pressure as well. Especially if people forget that our income in essence comes down to our effort. So the more effort we put in, the more money we earn. A lot of the world don't live like that. A lot of the world live on a fixed income. So like if you're employed and you're on, let's say, 35 grand a year, that's all you're getting, right? That's it. No matter if you slug your guts out every day, do all the best you can, you're still only going to earn that salary. You might earn a bonus and whatever, but generalization wise, most of the population are on a fixed income. So if you had, let's say, 3 grand a month coming in here, right, 3 years ago, and on average your salary has gone up 2% a year, so you're getting 3,100 quid a year now. You've just got to look at fuel costs, energy costs, food shopping. You know, like I've got a family. There's a family of six in mine, 4 kids, 2 adults. That's me and my wife, obviously. And our food bill can easily be 250, 300 quid a month, right? A week, sorry, a week. I buy nice stuff. I could do it cheaper. I could go to Aldi and whatever and save a few bob, but I don't, because thankfully, I mean, my business is, I can earn more money. So when things are a little bit tighter, I can put a little bit more effort in and I can earn that extra money. But the vast majority of the population don't have that luxury. And that's a scary situation to be in. And I guess most of us watching are self-employed in some capacity. So we don't necessarily have the same view on all the shit that's going on in this world because we're not on that fixed salary. And I don't know if like my 2 of my brothers, all of my brothers, I've got 4 brothers, they're just employed, right? And my sister. I've got 5 brothers. Sorry, I forgot about my baby brother, who's a year old. Sorry. They're on fixed incomes. So they're feeling all of this a lot harder than, say, me, because all I've done is up my effort. I've upped my effort in my boiler business. I've upped my effort in my off the tools coaching, and sort of like generated and earned more money. So my lifestyle hasn't had to change. But I know a lot of people where they don't have that luxury, and that's where I can't even remember. I think it was Ross McCormack that said about the good customers would pay the price. That's why my mind's changed on it. I'm quite open-minded. I always willing to change my mind if I'm right or wrong. So, a great question to discuss. So let's see what other questions. So Liam has put, do you think a lot of businesses will go under? These big businesses will take the short-term loss to get there. Yes. The short answer, yes, 100%. We're going to see a lot of small independent businesses disappear over the next sort of 12 to 18 months. You know, you've only got to look at the people involved that are buying up these companies. So like HomeServe was recently bought for stupid amounts of money by this big Canadian hedge fund. The same hedge fund, I believe, bought Boxed, or at least invested 20 million into Boxed. Then you've got Pimlico Plumbers, owned by a huge, I think they're American outfit, or maybe even Canadian as well, called, I've forgotten what they're called. And I believe they're probably going to spread over the UK as well. And these guys can lose money to grab market share. And that is 100%. I'm not trying to scare people here, but it is 100% going to start eating our lunch unless, this is the very important point, unless you, whoever you are, start to up your game. That is the only way you're going to stay on the field, is if you up your service to your customers, if you up the customer journey, the experience that customer gets with you, you know, unless you invest in decent software that keeps you at the forefront of customers' mind through email marketing, text marketing. But ultimately that comes down to you sort of investing in yourself and learning and educating yourself on business and marketing, and more importantly, service. I think not the actual physical work, but everything that leads up to that, how you communicate with customers, how you engage with them, how you propose work to them. You know, writing it on the back of a fag packet or dropping a text message isn't going to cut it in the modern world, you know, not for long anyway, not for long. And obviously I think we're on the brink of a recession. I know we bounced out a little bit in the last quarter or month or whatever the data was from. But certainly, you know, we've had COVID. We've spent what, billions, hundreds of billions of pounds that was invented out of thin air. So that's going to have an effect. There's going to be a few years period. So not only with the general economy, we're now competing with that. We're competing with inflation, and now we're competing with huge hedge funds that can literally lose millions and millions and millions of pounds, and it not matter to them. You know, we can't. Most small businesses have enough money in the bank to survive a month, if that. And that's fact. I can't remember where I read it. I think it was the FSB, which is a business sort of. I don't really know much about it, but I read an article. Anyway, the FSB is a good thing to go and look at for small business. And I'm pretty sure that they said that, I call it, I think it's known in the industry as burn rates, as how long you can survive without any income. And it's quite scary when you actually look at. I work with about 35 guys across the UK in my coaching program, which is called Off the Tools Alliance, and there's a few in there that are solid, you know, and they've got quite a bit of money behind them, but the vast majority are not hand to mouth, but they haven't got much cushion to absorb any downturns, and that's going to be what's going to catch people, Liam, in answer to your question, is cash flow. You know, if you get a bad month, you can ride it out. If you get a bad quarter in a small business that hasn't been very clever with its money, hasn't got any strategy around cash flow and managing that money, they're the businesses that are gonna disappear. And ultimately, you know, that they're gonna probably leave debt lying around and struggle themselves as a person, because I've been through that. I've lost two businesses at the same time. It was basically one business, but it was two. For those that know my story, you know, so I've been there. I know what it feels like to run out of money, and you've got 50 grand bill over here, and you've only got 10, 15 grand in the bank, and it's like, that's when you know you're in the shit. And I think COVID, I didn't want to mention the word COVID, but because I know Facebook fucked the algorithm up, but COVID gave everyone a false economy. So the last 2 years, in my opinion, 2020 and 2021, have given a lot of small businesses false security in regards to everyone in the UK pretty much had a few extra grand lying around, whether it was from furlough money, whether it was from the holiday being cancelled, whether it was from grants that people were entitled to. So naturally, people spent that money on getting their bathroom done, getting their boiler done, you know, changing the radiators, whatever it might be, because money burns a hole in people's pocket, and if they haven't got a holiday booked, they want to spend that money somewhere else. Whereas now, the free money stopped, you know, and as I said, with inflation and the economy in general, now it's a totally different environment. So I think even if we take away COVID and it was just this year in isolation, I think it would be a tough year, because I think people have realised that they've all overspent and they're all credit carded up to the max, and it's really starting to pinch. And then you couple that up with the likes of Boxed expanding massively, British Gas underpricing. It's a bit worrying. It's a bit worrying. Let me read the rest of that question. So the next 5 years. So I'd shorten that time frame. I'd say the next 3 years, we're going to see Boxed are going to grow exponentially. The partnerships that they're forming with B&Q, and I think they're partnered with npower now as well. They are going to aggressively go after British Gas's market share. They're already far on their way to that. And that's going to, obviously, naturally, they're going to pick up a lot of our independent customers as well. So I see a lot of small businesses, unless you take action now to future-proof your business, then I can see a lot of small businesses disappearing. I can see a lot of mainly men, you know, it's mainly men that are self-employed in this industry. I know there are women, I'm not demeaning that, but I'm going to generalize here because I think it's like 95% of men. I think we're going to see a huge rise in mental health issues in men, and especially men in the trades. And I know there's great support growing out there from the people like Men Talk. There's quite a few out there now, which is absolutely amazing. But a lot of guys won't see that, because in the scheme of the world, these sort of support groups are very small. So I can sadly see a sort of, I didn't mean to laugh there. It was sort of more of a sad laugh. I can see a huge rise in anxiety issues, depression, stress, hitting men in this industry, and it's sad to say that, but ultimately, if your business isn't performing, you're at the mercy of everything coming through you, and a lot of people can feel isolated. I know 8 years ago, 2020, 8 years ago, when I was going through my loss of my business, if I didn't have my amazing wife, I would have been in I was in a dark place as it was, but I would have been in a much darker place. And sadly, not everyone is lucky enough to have an amazing supporting family around them, especially an amazing supporting wife or husband or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is nowadays. So that is something that I want to tackle. I want to bring that conversation up as much as possible. I know this has gone way off topic of British Gas, but it's the consequence of a business that isn't performing is it will directly impact people's lives, because ultimately it is their life. The majority of us self-employed people, the vast majority of our time, if we're not sleeping, is working. Which is why my philosophy of the 3Bs, for those that don't know, go on the website offthetools.co.uk, and it will tell you a little bit about what the 3Bs are. But in brief, it's looking after your body, and that's like your mind, your physical, everything to do with you as an individual. Business, obviously looking after your business, and balance, looking after your family, your loved ones, your friends, all of that side of things. And I see that philosophy is going to be needed, and I'm going to be spreading my message of hope, because I've gone through it. I've been bust. I've nearly lost it all. I've suffered daily with problems, especially anxiety. Anxiety doesn't really get talked about much in the trades. We hear depression a lot, but anxiety is a strange one. And a lot of people, I'm not going to name drop people, obviously, because it's confidential, but a lot of people that you would never imagine would be anxious and suffer with anxiety actually do. So a little call to arms here. If you are, well, how do you identify anxiety? I never really knew that I never really understood what it was, but all I knew is that I would start to panic about things that might happen. I would get scared, not scared, but I'd get worked up. I'd get like pacey. I'd be on edge in social environments, and it was, once I sort of realized, okay, maybe it is anxiety, I started to address it. And I do things like meditation. I do journaling, which, a little shameless plug here, I've now got my own journal that I've created, and the guys in my Off the Tools Alliance are going to be getting access to that for the first time this week. So it's quite a exciting period in my coaching career, is that's finally getting out there. And hopefully it will help people, because for me personally, writing shit down, planning what I want to do, having structure. I think it's Jocko Willink is my favorite quote: discipline equals freedom. And journaling every day and meditating and taking time out of your world for yourself. So I go to the sauna 3, 4, 5 times a week, just for half an hour, just as like really focus on me and getting my head straight. Really helped me, and it still helps me daily now. So I've gone totally off subject, so I'm just going to catch up with some of the questions, lads and ladies. I'd be interested in that. I've nearly lost my drive. I'd be interested in having a chat and getting my head back in the game. Paul, 100%, mate. If you go on offthetools.co.uk, in the top menu bar, there's something that says book a call. Book a call. It's a little 15-20 minute informal chat, to see where you're at, just to get a bit of an understanding, and B, to see if what I offer through my program is of any help to you. Ultimately, I won't work with someone unless I feel that I can have a positive impact on not just their business. My coaching covers, like I said, the 3Bs. It covers body, business and balance. And if it isn't a right fit, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sell you a dream. It's hard work. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard work working with me because there's a lot of expectation. It takes really focused attention to change where you're at. But Paul, definitely, I'll reach out to you to book a call. And I'm not going to try and sell to you on the call. It's just a little chat to see where you are, to see if there is anything that we can do to help. I'm going to read another question. Liam again. How you doing, mate? What's this one? I run my business with no debt. It's just me, but been wanting to grow, but I can't see any longevity in the industry. Without being negative, I'm all about positive thinking, but I just can't see how I can expand. I think all this talk about gas boilers coming to an end. Yeah, Liam, I totally get it. 100% totally understand. But my question back to that would be, how else are homes going to have heating and hot water? Yeah, there is always going to be a place. Yeah, okay, at some point, gas, as we know it, boilers might become obsolete, but there is going to have to be a replacement. Okay, whether it's heat pumps, whether it's whatever it might be, hydrogen, it could be any of these. Nothing's really taking the lead at the moment, but we're in the position to capitalize on that. So whatever the changes might be, this industry as a whole needs skilled tradespeople like us to be able to fulfill the government's climate stuff that they need to do. So that's how I'd flip it. I'd look at what's the potential, not just the negative. Okay, if they get rid of boilers, what's the potential? There's going to be a huge amount of people that need to get replacement items. Like I say, like Jack McGovern's on here at the minute. He's a great guy. Jack's doing amazing up in Lincolnshire. Keep meaning to get Jack on the podcast. So again, Jack, we need to get this done. But Jack's doing some amazing stuff. So go follow Jack McGovern. His business is called Glow Group, I believe. And he's doing bits. He's doing a lot of stuff. And Liam, seeing what he's doing might give you that inspiration. And hopefully maybe these chats that we're having are going to give you a bit of inspiration too. Feel exactly what you're talking about now. Times are hard. Wife makes it easier. Yeah, Andrew. I'm a firm believer in every good man. There's a doubly good woman behind her, or a man in the modern world. Sorry, I'm being. I'm trying to generalize. The anxiety is a big one for me. Yeah, Hilton. I don't know about you personally, but I didn't realize what anxiety was. And as soon as I did and understood that, yeah, okay, that is it. And I had to embrace that, and you could argue, that I carry a little bit of a position. I've got a public profile, I've got a podcast. So for me to admit it was quite difficult because people look up to me. Whether you agree with that or not, that's down to you. But I know from the messages and the reach that I have that people look up to me. So for me to admit that and take action on solving it was quite a big deal. And it just means that it can happen to anybody. Like I said, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some people that I know that you would just never imagine it. You just literally wouldn't. You just presume that they're on their top A game all the bloody time, when in reality they're struggling as well. But luckily they've embraced it and sort of learning techniques to overcome it. But for me, just to close out on that anxiety bit, unless there's more questions on it, journaling was huge. Meditation is huge part of my life, and what you consume in here and in here. So not just what you consume food wise, like obviously we all know we need to eat well, but it really does play a part. But what we consume up here, right? Watching the negative news and reading shit online about how successful everybody is, and it can really cause problems. So yeah, have a think. Little challenge for you. Have a think about what are you letting go in here? In between here, what is it? 7 inches, roughly 6-7 inches is the most important part of your body, right? What goes in here, because your thoughts become your reality, right? So if you're letting bad stuff in, your thoughts are going to start to be bad, which then are going to come out in reality. We talk about a lot of this on my podcast, so go check out Off the Tools podcast on any podcast provider. Let's get back to the questions. Let's try and get a bit more upbeat here. Bigger jobs, which I know are okay. I'm in the middle of a night, often night, frustrating and unnecessary. Yeah, oh mate, I don't miss that. I won't lie. When I was on the tools and more hands-on in the business, it would keep me up at night, and my wife would know. She'd know I wasn't present. I wasn't focused because I was thinking about Mrs. Smith's fucking problem job down the road or whatever it might be. But again, coming back to, I started journaling 6 years ago. There's been patches that I've stopped, and meditating as well, six years ago. And when I stop, within 4 or 5 weeks, I know I'm heading backwards. So I have to restart that engine and go back to what I know works. Overwhelm in what should be normal situations. Yeah, again, Anthony, I'll share it's not even funny, man, but I'll share a story. I was at Southend last summer, and we went in one of them crazy houses, where it's all like wonky. And I could feel that I was, we'd just come out of COVID lockdowns and shit. I was feeling just generally like on edge, right? And we've walked in there with my kids, and I've got my wife, my 2 little ones. I think my older daughter was there as well. And I was at the back, and we've gone in, and I just felt overwhelmed. I just felt like, oh my God, where am I? I need to get out. I had a rucksack on, right? And I had to barge past this little kid, right, to get out, because I just all of a sudden come so overwhelmed with the situation. But again, when I got out, I went back to my training, which was deep breaths, slowing myself down, considering what was the danger there. There wasn't any danger, so why am I thinking that there was, and working through it mentally in my head, and it really helped with me. Ross, anxiety is worrying about what will happen. Depression is dwelling on what has happened. Bang on, Ross. That is the definition, and ultimately, you can't change the past, you can't change the future. You can only change right here, right now. And the fact that there's still, after nearly 45 minutes on this call, there's still 20 of you guys listening is fantastic, because hopefully something in this conversation might make you make a little change right now in what you're doing. And it's easy to say, oh, just don't dwell on the past, don't dwell on the future, just focus on that. That's the easy part, right? It's easy to say it, but it's hard to do. But if you don't change anything, you're just going to progress down that path. So if you have these early signs that you are getting worried about things, past or present, you need to shift things up. You need to change what you're doing. And I keep coming back to it. Journaling, meditating, what you're consuming are fundamentally 3 massive impacts on you. And they're easily fixed. You can change what you consume into your mouth right now. Instead of drinking a beer, you can go and get a pint of water, right? Instead of having a chocolate bar tonight, you can have a banana, right? What goes in here, you can change right now. You can turn the news off, turn Love Island off, and you could put on a inspirational movie, or you could listen to a podcast about something that excites you. And so you can change that instantly, right? And by changing those inputs, they will have an effect on your outputs. My coach, Paul Moore, so I have a coach called Paul Moore. He talks about inputs and outputs, and it's sort of like, you wouldn't put petrol in a diesel engine and expect to get very far. And that is a literal example of real life. Who else? Yeah, I suffer with anxiety too. Feel like I can't breathe randomly and worrying about also. Yeah, Liam, you're not alone, mate. Honestly. But only you can change it. Okay, this is a little bit harsh. It's only you and the actions that you take, the habits that you start to do, will change that. Okay, and that starts now, right? That starts literally now. If you leave it till tomorrow, then you'll just fall back into that cycle. Happy to have a little bit more of a chat about that. So go on my website and book a little chat. Like I say, I'm not trying to sell anything to anyone. I just like to help people. And thankfully I'm in a position that I can. So, let's see who else. Any other questions? Never done one of these before. Glad I have made me realize it's not just me. And thank you, Paul. Excellent, mate. This was very impromptu. It's gone very, very well. I've had a great time. As you all know, I love the sound of my own voice. So it's been fantastic for me, but also seeing you lot all engaged. I'm going to do these a lot more. I definitely will. So my lads, football is just about finished. So I'm going to have to jump off in the next couple of minutes. Has anyone got any other questions, anything else that they would like to discuss or open up about. You know, like you've seen here, like loads of lads have opened up to say that they sometimes suffer with a little bit of anxiety and worry. So it's good that you've had the balls to talk about it. Let's never don't. Oh, that's the same question. Let's go back to the original part of this conversation, which we've gone totally miles away from. British Gas and their stupid pricing. Remember that they can afford to lose money, so please don't try and race to the bottom and try and compete on price. Up your service, up your communication with your customers. Explain why you basically explain why you're better. Explain why you are a better person than getting just British Gas in at a cheap price. Hi Tommy, how you doing? Lee Guest, you are a legend talking about this. No, mate, Lee, my pleasure. You know, I love to help people, and if this conversation has helped even one person, it's been worth it. Tommy, good to see you on, mate. Hopefully you can catch up with the rest of it once it goes on to the group, once it comes off. Right, guys, it's pissing down with rain out there. My son is trying to get in the van, so I'm going to have to leave it there. I will see you very soon, lads and ladies. See you soon.
I really hope you enjoyed the show. I just wanted to pull it out there for anyone listening that I offer business coaching, but also life coaching. My life is centered around something called the 3Bs, which stands for body, business, and balance. When you work with me as a coach, we tackle all three aspects of life. So you as an individual, body, mindset, health, fitness, knowledge, education. Business B obviously stands for your business, improving, maximizing opportunities, elevating, making more money. And balance stands for your friends, family, loved ones, you know, making time for everything in your life. And the 3Bs is the core element to that. If you'd like to learn more, I would ask you to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you might be consuming my information. Or you can email me directly at wayne@offthetools.co.uk. I'm here waiting to assist you to elevate across all aspects of life. Have a good one. No excuses. Let's go.